This is the Kazdoy Closet. I'm Kazdoy. That's my closet, full of all the stuff that I love. But today, a detour. This is our 200th episode, so I wanted to do something a little bit different. I was going to go to the other parts of the room and show you the other films on my shelves, but instead I'm going to share some of the other stuff that I love, past and present. Let's check it out. The first item I want to share with you is this Hammer House of Horror lunchbox. I don't collect lunchboxes. I know some people do, but I went to Amoeba, which is a big record and movie store in Hollywood. There's two in Northern California, and I went to trade in some DVDs and certain other things, and they really wouldn't give me much money for anything, and they gave me credit only, and this was the only thing that really stuck out to me that I wanted. I love Hammer horror films. I collect them. I collect a lot of Hammer films actually, and so I just love their artwork here. The pulp nature of it, the bold colors and the design, really like it a lot. So this is just on display. Of course, I'm not putting any lunch in it, and I don't know if you can tell or not, this front cover here is embossed. If you look inside, you can tell that that's all embossed. So this sits up on the shelf above a lot of my movies. I have a couple of wind-up toys. These were all given to me. Again, I'm not a toy collector, just like I'm not a lunchbox collector. And I just have them on display above where my movies are. And I don't really play with them or anything. It even says here, not a toy. But I also love the boxes that came in. I love the colors. And a little spaceship here. So, like I said, I don't play with them, but I can kind of give you an idea of what they look like when they're in action. There's the spaceship there. And here is the robot. This looks like Robbie the robot from Forbidden Planet. And again, these things really don't work that well as far as toys go. So there's Robbie in action. And if you want to put Trump down there to battle him, you can get Trump to battle him. There you go. There's a little fight right there. Okay, get out of here, guys. And then the last one is this little robot. You can see in comparison, he's pretty small. And he really doesn't work that well, but I still like the way he looks. This is a flask from Sin City. Sin City, in case you don't know, was a comic book series and later became a film. And this has not been used, I don't think. And I don't know if this is worth anything or not, what it goes for, but it's pretty cool. And I just have it on display. And speaking of Sin City, it began as a comic book. And here's the original first comic, I believe, A Dame to Kill For, by Frank Miller. And as you can see here, Frank Miller signed this. I went to a signing years and years ago. And Frank Miller, in case you don't know, he is pretty much responsible for the dark look of the Batman films now, because he wrote the graphic novel The Dark Knight Returns. And that's sort of began the whole darker look of Batman. So I looked this up on eBay before I started this video, and somebody's asking $8.99 for a signed edition of this, and this is in pretty mint condition, as you can see. And I'm talking $899, not $8.99. So I can't believe that this is worth $899, but that's what that guy's asking for. I don't really collect comics either. I did for a while. Didn't really know what I was doing, but I do have a few that I like, I'm holding on to. This one is Spawn and Batman, and this one also, signed by Frank Miller. There he is there, and Todd McFarlane did the artwork for it. He's pretty famous. Here's one called Batman Madness that was signed by these two writers and artists. You can see their signatures up here. This one's not going for much of anything, really. It's another nice one. I love this cover here, Tales to Astonish. And this one is signed by John Estes. And this is actually going for a nice amount of money on eBay. I bought this one with a bunch of other people thinking it would be valuable. This is The Death of Superman. This thing's not worth anything, really. Preacher became a pretty famous or well-known TV show, and this is the #1 comic of Preacher. Speaking of #1s, here's the #1 comic of the Simpsons comics, and then all their spin-offs. Radioactive Man, #1. Then they had Lisa Comics. Treehouse of Horrors, #1. Itchy and Scratchy, #1. Bartman. And then Simpson Comics and Stories, Collector's Edition, issue 1. And Krusty, #1. None of this stuff is worth really anything. This one I thought might be worth something, but it's really not. This is called Marvels. It's one in a series. There are 4 of them together. And what I like about this is the artwork. This is, I think, book 0 here. But the artwork is amazing. It's by Alex Ross. He's pretty well known. I'm going to show you this one because it's pretty impressive. And you can buy a book of his stuff too. But this is a clear cover, as you can see. And look at that artwork. It treats Marvels as if they're real, the Marvel superheroes, as if they're real people living in our real time. So the artwork's really nice. I'm surprised this wasn't worth more, but I don't know how these, I guess it's all supply and demand. And speaking of books, I do have a few signed books. I think my most prized one is somewhere in the garage. I couldn't find it. It's signed by Frank Zappa. But here's one, Do the Right Thing, right when this film came out. And I went to a book signing, and there is Spike Lee's signature right there. Now, along with comic books, of course, we have trading cards. And again, I don't really look at these. I don't think any of them are worth much of anything, but here's some Beavis and Butthead ones. So it's got a picture on the front from an episode and then a synopsis on the back. And really like this show, and to be honest, I still watch this now. We also have Universal Monsters, big fan of the Universal Monsters, and I like some of the artwork on here. And there's some background on the films on the back of the card. So these are all in really good shape, but I just don't think they're worth much of anything except to me. And I guess when I die, somebody will find them and say, why did he collect these? This is Fangoria trading cards from the Fangoria Horror magazine. Pretty cool. Simpsons. Information of each character on the back of the card. Very colorful. And then finally, I think in here there are two. There's X-Files. I was a huge X-Files fan. And I think this is the very first set of trading cards they put out. These might be worth a little bit of money. And I had my first box DVD set was the X-Files Complete Series. And then one night while we were sleeping, my dog ripped it all apart. I still have the ripped boxes, disc holders, sitting in my closet somewhere. So there's a bunch of X-Files stuff. And then here are some Superman cards, which are sort of called the Platinum Series. You can't really tell. This is like foil edging on these. And that's it for trading cards. But I do have other types of cards. I have a few unique card decks. This one is called Incredible True Life Murderers. It's 40 trading cards. Basically, they're serial killer or murderer cards. And there it is on the back. And these, I think, were banned after a while. They stopped selling them. But still, you can buy them on eBay. And basically, you have various killers. And then on the back, you have their biography. So there's Son of Sam, Hillside Strangler, Lizzie Borden. Anyways, that's what these look like. There's 40 of these. That's a list of who's included in this Notorious box set. I have this set, which actually is going for a few bucks on eBay. This is Early Jazz Greats, and I think it's going for some money because R. Crumb, the famous comic book artist, did the artwork for the front here. This is Early Jazz Greats. I think there's 36 in here. And this is nice, nicely done. A little old-fashioned. So Benny Goodman and Fletcher Henderson and Mary Lou Williams and Lamar Wright. All these great old jazz artists. And on the back it has, their biography. So there's that. A couple more to show you. This one is interesting, called Oddball Comics. And it's just weird comic books that were actually published at one point. And I love the artwork on these. And it's pretty unusual. Space Westerns. Picture Parade. I don't know why there's an Anna Bomb in the background. Just Married comics. These are all apparently real, I think. He-Man. Teenage Temptations. They used to have a lot of comics like this back in the day. And on the back, a little history of that comic book. So yeah, they're real. It has the year and everything. So that one's kind of fun. And then some political card decks. Going way back to, this looks like the George W. Bush and Clinton administration. This is really just playing cards with pictures of various political figures on them. I also have the OJ trial cards. I think it's called In Pursuit of Justice. These are figures from the 50 cards, figures from the OJ trial. I was a little obsessed with that trial, and so I should open these up to show you, but these are still sealed. I guess I thought they were going to be worth something, but they're not worth anything really. And then finally, another political theme one, the Iran-Contra scandal card, something else that I was a little obsessed about. And it's basically what you think it is. It's different figures from the Iran-Contra hearings. There's like Oliver North, and then on the back, explaining what happened. Pretty snarky, I guess, huh? So those are the trading cards. And I think I'm going to end with some things I showed in a video about a year and a half ago. These are called writer's blocks. And as just each one's on a different writer. Here's one on Samuel Beckett, so it shows his name. And there's his picture, signature, different works he's done. So these are just some of my favorite writers. Kurt Vonnegut. There he is there. Mark Twain. I took a seminar in college. I think we read every single thing Mark Twain ever wrote. Steinbeck, Grapes of Wrath. Tortilla Flats, East of Eden. And I'm going to guess of Mice and Men. Yep, there it is. And Nathaniel Hawthorne, Scarlet Letter, Twice Told Tales. And where's his picture? There he is. And finally, we have Ray Bradbury. And there's his picture there. And then something that's kind of an outlier. This is Hieronymus Bosch, the famous artist that I was pretty obsessed with when I was younger, because his paintings are just so bizarre and so surreal. I just had to know more about them. Such weird stuff. And then the lovely Mrs. Kazdoy Closet and I went to a Pasadena art fair a while back, and somebody was selling these bigger blocks. So I have these two, and there's more robots there. I love what he did with these, and very Southern California centric is the famous Capitol Records building. And then he had several showing the Cinerama Dome, and I couldn't decide which one, but I finally went with one of my favorite films, Chinatown. I hope you enjoyed this little side trip to see some of the other things that I've obsessed about over the years, and most of that stuff's going back in the garage right now. But before I go any further, I want to make a toast to all of you watching, and especially to all of you subscribers out there. You motivate me to keep on going and continue sharing all the stuff that I love. So, to your health, to Mom and Molly, wherever you may be, and thank you so much for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or a suggestion down below. I want to thank the following people who have left a comment since our last episode: Tina, Michael, Martin, Diod, and James. Thank you so much. Feel free to leave a thumbs up. Don't leave a thumbs down. Subscribe would be great. Share this with your friends and neighbors. I want to welcome our new subscriber, James, who also commented on a few of the past episodes. We're almost at our next goal, 450 subscribers. You know my spiel. I'm not selling anything. No merch, no eBay store, no Patreon. I'm just here to share the stuff I love with you out in the darkness. Also, don't forget we have a Letterboxd link down below in the notes, and that's free as well. And you can see on that app other things that we're watching. I write very brief reviews about some stuff I'm watching that I usually don't talk about on this channel. I just watched Femme Fatale, Brian De Palma's film, so you can check that out. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate it. On to episode 201. I have something planned, a director who really disappointed me this time. See you next time.